Well, another year has passed. The waste management is open. I will tell you, my heart feels slightly empty not being there this year. But maybe it's all for the best because I heard they kind of were toning the crowd down a little bit. Did you guys hear any news on this? They were attempting to make some changes and do things to, I don't know, slow down the chaos. But apparently that wasn't enough to slow down Thomas Detry, or maybe that made the difference for him. That's what the guy needed. To come out of nowhere and take his first PGA Tour win by 5 strokes. I will tell you, to come in for your first win and take it by 5 strokes in a packed field, I mean, somewhat, I guess we didn't have Rory out there and some of the other boys, but Scotty Scheffler was chasing him down. Justin Thomas was playing fantastic. That's not going to slow down Detry. But I'm just curious, and I wish we could have some fans on. Do you guys think that they killed the vibe, or do you think, I don't know, they maintained some of the fun? What do you guys get from that?
I think like slowing down waste management is like giving a tiger like a 0.0 Xanax. It's not going to do anything.
Jesus.
What an analogy right there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wow.
Well, Josh, you kind of went through and looked at some of the things that they did to, I don't know, mitigate the chaos. What did you come up with?
Okay, so I got to find it in here. They added a new entrance near the 18th tee to improve crowd flow and reduce congestion.
All
and
right.
Their goal was to distribute foot traffic more evenly throughout the venue.
Which makes sense. I remember, last year there were points where it was just gridlock. There were people coming from every direction back to the main entrance. And it was, I mean, it's like sitting in rush hour traffic, nowhere to move, nowhere to go. And all you can think is like, I don't know, something happens, some moron screams fire, and there's nowhere for people to go. This is going to be chaotic. I think that was probably a pretty good decision on the part of the event organizers there. What else they do?
They transitioned to all digital ticketing, eliminating the good any day option. Now, now these tickets, they required a day-specific ticket for any day you went, and the prices increased.
You know why the eliminating the good any day ticket probably is a good thing for them. Last year, there was terrible weather. During the practice rounds, it was raining, it was gross, whatever. Even I think the first round of the tournament, still pretty bad. That's what created all those mudslides and everything. And then the weather got nicer. So I think everybody was like, well, hey, I'm not going. It sucks. The weather's terrible. Oh, great. Now Saturday's awesome. Let's all go.
Yeah.
And so now it's sort of this uncontrollable amount of people who technically had a ticket to get in, but all chose to come sort of on the same day or two, which led to extreme chaos last year.
I'm assuming that like waste management has, obviously those tents where everything's free like we had at Olympia. But for those that don't, wonder what the highest bar tab was for one single person.
Oh my God.
I would love to know that. I would at minimum say 30.
I can't even imagine. Wow. I mean, you see those beer snakes where people have like the cups?
Yeah, it's like 20 feet tall.
I saw a video I saw one that was like 20 feet tall. Yeah.
And you always wonder, you're like, is that like, like how many feet is that guy who's passed out in the cup chain? Like, like he accounted for like a 4-foot section.
He took down like 5 different people on his way to making that.
Sometimes, man, especially the snakes that are in the crowd, you just hold that thing up, people start passing you cups.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's a problem. So at Wrigley Field, they do that. Like that's the thing at Wrigley.
I got mine taken away.
Well, people try to do it at the whatever it's called, the guaranteed rate. I call it the sell. For the White Sox. Yeah.
Comiskey.
And as soon as you attempt it, they take it.
Yep.
So like every time I go, I hide it. And
That's baseball, Dan.
I get at least like 20, 30 cups before, I get, give me that.
Are you just collecting them off the ground, or are you trying to consume all 20 to 30 beers?
I don't like draft beers, so like I just get cups from everyone else.
So you had none of the cups.
I might have had one.
You're like, excuse me, sir, I do apologize for me collecting all of these cups. However, I am completely sober.
Oh
What's
no, I
funny
wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Draft
what's
beer.
funny with the Cubs, they actually now have battles between left field and right field to see who's can be longer. And they just let him go with it now. And I think it's usually around the 7th or 8th inning is when they're like, okay, all right, time to give us the cups now. Like, and they
Wrap
usually a
it
lot
up.
of yeah. Once that starts to go to the upper deck, like that's usually when they're just like, all right, guys, like
When
that's
it's
like
transcending levels.
It's
yeah,
it-
like
You're sitting in your skybox and you just see, where the hell
cups
is this
coming
cup
on out.
It
going?
just starts elevating in front of you.
wasn't there a time where it went across the whole outfield?
Uh, I mean, I'm sure there was like it's the bleacher bums out there get crazy, so it's a lot of fun. But here's the thing that I always imagine in my head or just contemplate when you have those long snakes like that. Like I think I heard the Western Open's beers were like $14 a piece,
Jeez.
so each one of those cups is 14 times a million, or I
Yeah,
mean,
like
it's not
this
million, but
cup
how
snake
many?
is valued at like $1.8 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Absolutely crazy.
like more than
Yeah, I saw
second
one of-
place one.
I saw one of the golfers that was out there who I think it was during the pro am day or something like that, and he had golf balls that were wrapped in $15 bills. So if he
Yeah.
did terrible, he started throwing them.
And I like it's such a fun idea. It's like, we're embracing the party here, and I want to buy
Yeah.
you guys some beers. You get a beer, you get a beer, you get a beer.
When you went to
And
your,
it totally eliminates people booing him, right? Like,
Oh,
how are you going to boo
absolutely.
the guy that's giving free beer?
Man, those were the days.
Oh,
oh, hey, Gizmo.
Getting trashed by 10 a.m. and blacking out by noon.
Jesus.
The waste management was the best time of my life before I was abducted by that buffoon over there. Nice
God.
comb over you, Dingleberry. And where can I get those earrings? Sorry if you couldn't tell, I'm pretty worked up.
Yeah.
Something is bugging me. It's eating me from the inside. My core is filled with inner rage. I can feel my inner Tyrrell Hatton coming out.
Your inner Terrell
Buffoon.
Hatton. Hey, the earrings, you can get them at Claire's. You're welcome. Jesus.
Claire.
How I have a question about those earrings. How long have those been in your ears?
So here's a funny story. I used to have like the gauged earrings, like the huge ones. I think I was at like a 0 or a 00, like whatever. And when I was going on The Biggest Loser, they told me, they're like, you can't have the gauged earrings on the show.
I was
Right.
back
Thank
then.
you, Biggest Loser.
So in 2007, I went and just found like a pair of hoop earrings and just put them in, and they've been in ever since.
So you were like 19.
Yeah, I mean, it's I forget they exist, and like, of course, like I don't think I would wear a pair of shoes from back then. I don't have any of like my outfits from then, but I apparently still have these earrings.
I don't
Well,
even see
your
them when
outfits
I
wouldn't
talk
have
to
fit
you.
you back then.
Well, that's true. That's true.
In a good way.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Remember when the first time you went to live, I always dress up like a golfer and I put my golf glove in my back pocket so I could go to places that you can't go to. And so I was buying like a Jack and Diet from the car girl, and she's like, "You guys are allowed to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do whatever I want." And then the guy,
hey DJ, you want one
"Yeah,
too?
you want one?"
Yeah, yeah, get him one.
And then I walked up to the guy. I'm like, "Hey, I'm supposed to meet my camera guy on number 2." I was like on 16. I'm like, "You mind giving me a ride?" Because the guy looked over at me. He's like, I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How'd you play today?" I'm like, "Oh man, it wasn't that windy today. Anytime you come to the Shine, it's not windy. It's a good day." He's like, "Man, well,
Jesus.
good luck."
He was telling me you act like a golfer at these tournaments.
That's exactly what Gary's explaining. He
Oh man.
Like I have
shows
little
up in
kids
full
come up
regalia.
with their hat and their pen, and I walk in and I do the stare, like the tiger walk, and like only true golfers that will notice that I have like a TW hat on sometimes. So obviously I'm not a professional because nobody else wears that hat except for Tiger. But it got me into the 19th hole with Rory and Victor when they ate breakfast before this final round on Sunday. And then my friend was working it, and she's like, "How'd you get in here?" I'm like, "You just gotta act like you own the place."
Do you
And
think
then
at some
eventually they
point?
got me because like I saw like a little bit of whispering going on, and I was like, "Uh-oh." So then I finally like, "Hey, where's the bathroom?" They're like, "Where's your credentials?" It's like in my golf bag. They're like, "You're not supposed to be here, are you?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "You tricked us for a while." I'm like, "I know. I saw you guys talking."
He's like, run away.
It was like Rory. I was like, "Good luck, Roars." And then Victor ate double of what Rory ate.
just like mounding the
Just,
food.
dude, he just came in like this.
Do you think the joke will ever go too far and you'll be called up to the first tee?
Well, when I was on the first tee at the Ryder Cup at Medina, like I always used to get Adam Scott. Like I look like Adam Scott, which was great because Adam Scott's a good looking guy. But then I
Great-looking
bought
guy.
these glasses that are different. And then the guy's like, "What are you doing up here?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You got a tee off soon." And the guy thought I was Zach Johnson. I was like, well, I don't, whatever. But Adam Scott to Zach Johnson's kind of not set it up great. What is Rich giggling? I love it.
It's just the whole like we're talking about Waste Management Open. I've got like stuff up here about like how many people are arrested last year, like things about the Waste Management Open. Here's Gary telling about a story how he was at a random event, like going up to Roars and seeing how big of a plate full of food he's got. He's like,